most animes are, I got a kid, starts here, and then they grow up to be this guy, right? But it's always the journey in between, and that resembles real life.
Down the sideline, wide open, into the end zone. Who else? It's Reggie.
A lot of people start from the bottom, but what are you going to do in between to get to where you want to go? And me going up to that, finally getting my shot at the NFL, I felt like that was my journey. Well, growing up in Texas, it's not hard to figure out where that love came from. Football is a religion in Texas, so the second I was able to go outside and catch the ball with my dad or friends, that's where it actually stemmed from. One thing that we did as kids that I can't really say that they do now is we played outside. And football was the main sport that we played. Six with the older kids used to go against different age groups. The older kids used to bully us, so you got mentally tough in that aspect. I remember a few times I had I'm running into the ditch. You learn to be tough in Texas. High school football in Texas on Friday nights, the stands are always full, and you have that natural rivalry, so it's pretty good. My dad, he went to a school called Central. We had 3 high schools at that time: Central, Ozan, and Westbrook. He went to Central. I wanted to go to Central, but by the time I got to high school, Westbrook was the better school, and in terms of me wanting to go to college, I felt like I personally would have had a better chance at Westbrook. I grew up, especially in the South, I grew up in the church. If I wasn't with my parents, I was with my grandparents on the weekends. And if I'm with my grandparents, we're going to church. It could be in the hometown, or it could be where my grandmother is actually from, which is Hemp Hill, Texas. And that's a 2-hour drive. So every other weekend we'll go to church in town, or we'll go to her town. So no matter what, I was in church. My uncle, he's my mom's half brother. He ended up passing away during the night that he was babysitting me. He ended up stepping outside with some friends and got into something, and unfortunately he passed away. But he was a guy that I was at age of 7, but I was always with him at that time. But I always used him as a, how can I say, like as a representation of what not to do. Like, his responsibility was supposed to be me that night, but yet he decided to go do something else. So yeah, I kind of lived my life like that after that. The pros and cons of doing certain things, and the way he took care of me, like I was his little brother. He never did anything bad around me, and he was a good example for me. But at the same time, life outside of me, so it's always a double-edged sword. So it just reminds me of what not to do at times because of his decisions. Everybody goes through their adversities, right? But the fact that I live my life through the aspect of Jesus Christ, everything that I strive for is good. God is good. So if you have that in the forefront of your mind, you try to be the best version of yourself, and the pros and the cons, the decisions that you make. Again, what do you choose to do? You can live worldly if you want to. You can live how the world wants you to live, or you can live good. Out of high school, I was the leading receiver out of high school, but yet I didn't get a single scholarship. I was a walk-on for 2 years in a local university in my hometown, so I didn't even leave home. After those 2 years, I ended up being on half scholarship, and I earned a full scholarship after that sophomore year, that redshirt sophomore year, so my 3rd year. From then on, I broke every receiver record at my university. So and my dreams were to make it to the NFL. So when I didn't get a proper shot at the NFL, or a fair shot at the NFL, I kind of went through a depression. I was like, what do I need to do to prove that, I could do everything right? I thought I proved enough to, get this opportunity. So as a young man, I went into a depression. I actually retired for a year. I went to go and work at this precious metal company called Universal Coin and Bullion. And one thing that we did there is that we had a mental health workshop 2 hours before work started. Work started at 8. We had a workshop from 6 to 8 every day. And that's when I learned that there are more than one way to get to get to your goal. There is no straight path, and that's life. That's life in general. You could do everything right. You could do everything right, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna get the satisfaction that you're looking for. So I chose to go to the CFL, and I dedicated my time to go to that path. So those workshops, honestly, is what got me jump started in that mindset to success. And the city of Calgary gave me the first real opportunity to, I say, pursue my dreams. When I signed that contract, to first come up here, I had the opportunity to go and redo the pro day at Lamar University that year. That year versus my year, they had 26 NFL scouts there. I only had 5. So I would have probably had a better opportunity going to the NFL if I did that, and I was more than ready. But the fact that I got this scholarship, I thought it over, and I was like, a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. If my path says I'm going to make it to the NFL this way, then I'm going to embrace that, and that's what I chose.